Hello, welcome back to Blend Sushi Live Reading. In this episode, I'm gonna share with you this SphereChalk Node 3. Basically, the idea is that if you have a 3D mesh and then it's got the UV and image texture, like in this case, just this auto-generated UV, it's got a bunch of color. You want to turn this Node 3 will enable you to generate a 3D mesh, like instance of mesh, on top of the original mesh based on this color. Currently, the color looks funky. I have to show you this because I'm using 2.79, but this is the official, but it doesn't have the RGBA control. So if I kind of the bridge between the old Blender and the new one, this one should have the proper color. So sampling, where is it? Okay, UV to voxels. So that's the premise. That's what I'm trying to do to turn like a, why is it so dark? Okay, to turn this is like a donut with this image texture. It's got a UV, and then we got this instance of objects, which is just a bunch of circle with a little bit of thickness using solidify. And yeah, we got the instance, just like a similar idea if you are using Blender particles or Blender hair strands, and you kind of instancing objects on top of a surface of the mesh, and then it's getting the color from the texture. So which node is responsible? It's basically this guy right here, sample UV colors. So as you can see, the node setup is very basic, very basic. You start with a, in this case I start with a particle MK2 because I have the original objects, which is just the torus, and it's emitting particles on the surface. Because one reason is I think SphereChalk doesn't have scatter points on surface or scatter points on volume. However, Blender particle does. So you can scatter random points as particles, and then you bring it into SphereChalk, and then the position of particles is being read, and that's being used to sample the texture based on the UV and the position. So if I'm not wrong, you can also kind of scatter the points a little bit more randomly or as a grid, and that will change accordingly. So let's try. Okay. Wonder if volume actually worked. The volume seems to work as well somehow. So it's scattering objects inside a volume. Let's try increasing the number, 20,000 points. And you see, there you go. It is a volume. I really like this actually. This is very cool. So if you have like a really big number, 100,000 particles or 100,000 of points particles, and then you sample the color, you can actually turn it into some kind of dynamics. But of course you need smokes and other, but this is like, it creates a volume. It's quite realistic. Yeah, 20,000 is one. I'm using the matrix normal and the location and the velocity. So that's so that the position of the circle is really kind of closely match the original face, the face normal of the surface. So there is a vector rewired and the circle. That's because the circle have some kind of facing direction, right? You want it to be on the X, Y, or Z. So I'm rotating it a little bit. And yeah, the rest is just vertex color, etc. And let me save this, and I'll give you the blend. Remember, you need to use the 2.79. That's actually the branch of 2.8. So this is a good one. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Actually, very basic. Try this node. It's very similar to the sample evaluate image one, but evaluate image is I think this is really good for a flat surface. and you can play around with the tiling. This one, sampling it from the space, the 3D space, it's a little bit more abstract, but you can see from this example, it's pretty easy to use. All right. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think. If you have any question, anything to add, let me know, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Bye.